Finished Wicked, and I wanted to tell you about it. I made some sticky notes. I made them in green because Wicked Witch, green, notes green, and pretty much they're the only thing that got me through the book. So I'm going to try really hard to not let my dislike of this book seep into just even like the plot summary, but I would say that the book can be divided into 3 parts. The first part is about the Wicked Witch, Elphaba, and her sister Nessarose and their family and kind of how they come to be, their family dynamic. Then the second of the 3 parts is about Elphaba as she goes to the school. It's called Shiz, which is strange. A lot of the words in the book are just strange and unpleasant to say. Shiz? Anyway, she goes to Shiz. It's kind of like the place to be. It's where she meets Glinda, who we know as now the Good Witch. I would say this second of the 3 parts is probably my favorite part to read. It was the most like real life and didn't have too much crazy fantasy stuff going on. Felt like the plot was very structured, which I liked during that period, versus the other 3. The third part, for me, was just the worst. The plot is all over the place, there's tons of stuff going on, but not in a good way. So some things to know about this book before you decide to read it, if after watching this review you still want to read it. The book is completely unlike the play that we know of as Wicked. My exposure to the play is pretty much just through Glee, but from what I've seen of the play and the book that I read, Wicked, I don't think that they have that much in common. Also, when I picked up the book, I really thought it was going to have way more of a YA feel to it. It does not. For me though, it kind of created this really awkward juxtaposition because I'm so used to associating the Oz and Wizard of Oz and Dorothy and all of that with kind of a childhood experience. The book has some very not childhood things in it. And far be it for me to judge a book for that. It didn't get to a place where I felt uncomfortable, but just so that you're aware, this is definitely not Oz like we know it. Another thing that I found kind of unusual is that with the title as Wicked, I really thought a lot of the plot focus was going to be us feeling awful for Elphaba, the Wicked Witch, and you know, she's persecuted because she's wicked, but honestly, Elphaba is not that likable of a character. Also, surprising tidbit, Dorothy does not make an appearance until the last 50 pages, which for me was just a total, like, blew my mind. How could you have a book all about the Wizard of Oz and have Dorothy not be in there until the last 50 pages? And I would be a little curious as to the sequels that I know that there are for this book, how much Dorothy is in there and how much of the Wizard of Oz plot that we're familiar with makes an appearance in those books. So obviously I did not like reading Wicked. Not much to say besides I just didn't enjoy it for the reasons that I said earlier in this video. It got me to thinking though, how many books have you read that just were difficult to get through? It was painful to finish it, you just wanted it to be over, and yet it was like the Energizer Bunny of books. It just kept having more pages. Is there a tag going around with this? Because I think that would be really interesting to know. What books everyone else has read that were just painful to read. I am glad that it's over though, and I have been reading Gone Girl now. I'm about 20 pages in, and it is great. It's always such a relief after you read a book that you don't like to get really into a book that you do like. So I'm excited to be able to do a review of that after the Thanksgiving break. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving and keep reading.